Season 6, episodes 25 and 26, the finale of Season 6, To Where and Back Again. So, Tolkien reference, obviously, to
Yes.
There and Back Again, of what I like to call the Fellowship of the Reformed. I couldn't think of a better one, but this odd mishmash of characters that goes out and
It's
tries to,
fitting.
yeah, goes out and tries to, simply walk into Mordor, given that you can't ride flying pigs into Mordor. Well, I mean, the Changeling Kingdom.
Yeah. One
Um,
does not simply ride flying pigs into
the Changeling
Chrysalis's
Kingdom.
castle.
It's a little clunky, but it's not as clean and memeable as you know. No one simply walks into Mordor. Something like that. I forget what's the exact line, but and I have the movies on DVD. I should watch those again.
One does
No,
not simply
walk
walk
into
into
Mordor.
Mordor. It is folly.
Yes, there are things there that do not sleep. Love that.
The ever-seeking eye is always watchful, or something like that.
Yeah, it's a
It's been a
really
while since
epic. That's freaking dangerous. You guys are nuts.
Yeah.
Sort of, you know.
See you guys, I'm going
Yeah.
home.
Gondor has no king. Gondor needs no king. Screw you guys. I'm going home. um,
I'm king.
okay, I don't know what that was, but okay. But anyway,
He wanted to be king.
uh, so we get a night. We start out with a little fake out because there was that weird black and green thing I think in the Crystalling or earlier in the season that was in the sky that we really didn't, you know, that was never explained. It was just kind of there, and they did a nice little fake out early after planting that little bit in the first episode, first couple episodes. They it's like, oh, that's what's that, and they're all pointing at it, and it ends up just being Derpy or your friendly neighborhood mail
Mm-hmm.
mare. Um, I have it, yeah, in my notes, friendly neighborhood delivery mare. Um, and a nice little touch is when she crashes, when she comes up, her eyes are straight. She shakes her head, and they return to their usual orientation. Um, so usually gets and so Twilight usually gets her mail by dragon, but the mail isn't for Twilight; it's for Starlight, and it's the invitation to the festival, the Sunset Festival in the village, which
And Sunset Shimmer's in another dimension going, man, I wish they had a festival named after me over here.
it would be interesting if like there's some lore back in the back there where Sunset Shimmer before she turned actually did something really important for that village. That village to a certain extent was already kind of there, and she came to town and did something for them, and they started a festival for her. But then she turned and left, and so they stuck up doing it because they didn't know she left. But it's a funny thought for headcanon territory. Uh, so we get the dream sequence, or what we find out is a dream sequence, because she shows her insecurity and that still remains after what she's done. I mean, you were literally a villain. You were,
Yep.
the villain of an episode. I mean, so her being insecure about her reformation and about whether others will accept her is not crazy. It's it's a lot of this. A lot of oddly enough, a lot of MLP comes out as, it turns out to be a lot of the villains just end up being reformed. It's, second chances and reformation, and this entire episode is basically Reformation, the episode. Some kind of celebrating their reformation by going out and doing good, and some by being reformed. But Luna helps soothe the nightmare and encourages her to seek the help of the Sixth. Which is a good idea. They're generally helpful. They're not. Rainbow Dash can be a little bit of a jerk, but that's just because she's brutally honest. Oddly enough, being the element of loyalty. But again, loyalty and honesty, they kind of go hand in hand to a certain extent. And then the shippers chime in.
Voiced by the same person.
Yeah, and the shippers will chime in on that one too. It's like loyalty and honesty are go hand in hand. Well, yeah. The Apple Dashers. I like it, but yeah. We'll not go too far into the shipping waters. There be dragons there. Spike doesn't like it when people ship.
No. Draconica. Draconiqui. And that's only with Fluttershy shippers. And sometimes Celestia shippers.
Ooh. Yes, so the Six comfort her, tell her to give it a go. Twilight suggests taking a friend to help ease her fears, which is all good advice, Applejack's all, just be honest about your feelings and what's going on. Right up her element. Her supposed element, though there have been thoughts that at some points, her and Rainbow Dash should have been swapped, but that's a thing. That's an ongoing discussion that's been had for years. Let's see. So they get outside, and cute Trixie meme is born, and Twilight is confused why she chose Trixie, but in thinking about it, she should be proud her student was able to make a friend of her on her own. She's not reliant upon Twilight to make her friends for her.
And she has a best friend on her own.
Yes, she has a best friend on her own. And this whole episode is basically, a giant kind of graduation to a certain extent. Not complete, but a first a graduation in a lot of their reformations of saying, hey, Twilight and company did great things for us. They helped us reform. Now we're now we're coming back. It's kind of these are our students. These four are our students, and they have reformed, and look how much they have reformed. They just saved Equestria. But I'm getting ahead of myself. But Trixie does see no end to the joy in rubbing it in, though. It's like, yes, you're so wise, princess. And just boop.
Telling her to invite her best friend, which is, of course, me.
But apparently, they go to the village, and the townsfolk are actually moved past it far more than Starlight could have imagined. They've moved past it more than I would have imagined. I mean, for as horrid as she was, the fact that they're this accepting means they're incredibly forgiving. These people are saint-like when it comes. These ponies are saint-like when it comes to forgiveness.
Well, if you think
she did apologize, I'll give it that.
If you think about it, she apologized, and they did agree to it themselves.
Yeah,
She didn't force it, like, straight force it on anybody. She subjected them to mental torture until they agreed to it, but they did have to agree to it before she did it. And she tried using subtle manipulation to get them to agree to it when she could. So, in their eyes, they probably saw it as, we chose this, so why should we stay pissed at her? She realized what a mistake it was. We realized it was a mistake. Get over it.
yeah. But just as much of a just tragic event, just traumatic event as it was, realizing what was going on. It's just it was surprising how quickly. But anyway, um,
Well, it was like a year.
yeah. And they know she has been
And who
working with the
knows what she
princess
did
to
when she was
improve.
time? And who knows what happened when she messed with time? Stepped
Yeah.
on a butterfly,
Let's see.
and Fluttershy will go ballistic.
But they asked her opinion on lots of things, like she was their leader again, and it freaks her out a bit, which is
Oh,
understandable.
oh yeah.
When you don't trust
That
yourself
could
like
also
that with
be
leadership positions.
that I understand that completely, because back when I was in high school, I used to be the leader of my science in science class. We had like two sides during like pre-test game
Reviews.
that we'd play. We'd
Yeah.
play
Uh,
before the day before test. We'd play Jeopardy, and we each had a side, and um my side always would choose me as the leader, and my side would always win. But then when my side lost, it really blew my confidence, you know?
mm.
And I didn't want to be leader after that. So I understand where she's coming from.
Mm.
Like, she fucked up and she didn't want to ruin them, you know? She didn't feel like she deserved to be their leader anymore.
But Trixie is true to her friend and uses her smoke bombs to cover their escape. Which,
That, and she just really likes smoke bombs.
yeah, she,
What
and
can
then,
I say? I'm smoking.
uh, but
That's from some ancient movie called The Mask. Some of you won't know it.
But basically, we get the first like admissions from her that she's insecure and she has lack of trust in herself as a leader that carries through the episode. That she's going to have to overcome. This is one of the main underlying plots to this entire episode. This entire finale is, you know, her dealing with her fear of being in charge, even though she seems to have pretty good
Mm-hmm.
leadership skills. Um, but they head back to town, and the changelings aren't very good impersonators. I mean, they get the voice, they get the look, but personality, and information, they didn't quite get briefed properly on it. They didn't do their research. Um, because Pinky is, well, stranger than usual, and AJ and Rarity are insensitive because they don't know her story. Which, I mean, AJ I could see, being a little insensitive every once in a while, but Rarity, no, Rarity wouldn't be insensitive. It's one of those. It does give an eerie feeling. But Starlight immediately suspects something is horribly wrong. This way this works out, it reminds me a little bit of was it Twilight's Kingdom, the one with Tirek, where an unforeseen factor foils the villain's master plan because they didn't account for them, or they thought that they weren't a threat, or They either didn't account for them or they weren't a threat. Which is, you know, Starlight, Trixie, Discord. Though,
Mm-hmm.
why? I guess she figured Discord. She didn't know Discord had been that far reformed that he would go after them, or didn't see
Yeah.
him as much of a threat because he wouldn't have his magic when he's attacking. But didn't expect a team to come after them.
Probably just didn't expect Discord to, want to save the day, because Discord is the god of chaos, and it's like, he won't bother me. He's got his own shit going on. But she made one fatal error with that. She kidnapped Fluttershy.
Yeah, if she had just left Fluttershy, Discord might have gone.
If she'd have kidnapped everybody else but Fluttershy, Discord would be like, oh, it's okay, there, dear. But you kidnapped Fluttershy. It is on.
So Twilight and Spike are weird, but Starlight gets to bed and she goes to sleep, and she's having the dream again, except for this time she's got Twilight telling her, cut your losses, don't come back here, that sort of thing. Something that really, sticks salt in a wound, and Luna comes to the dream and tells her, warns her of the changeling invasion, which makes all the rest of it make sense.
Yep.
So Starlight seeks aid from Trixie, who apparently would be glad to perform for Peanuts, as long as it's peanut butter it's in peanut butter cracker form.
Yes.
And for Celestia.
Of course, said Celestia. I'll be happy to perform for peanut butter crackers.
A little bit of the movie coming back across, bleeding back into the main show. But luckily for Starlight, the fakes...
I think it's one of those... I think that's one of those things like the 20% cooler line. It was just a one-off comment that fans grasped and dragged through so hard that the writers are like, let's do a little fan service.
Yeah.
And that's why they put 20% cooler Awesome As I Wanna Be song, because it's like, let's do a little fan service.
Yeah. Well, they know the memes. They look around, they see the memes, they know what's going on with that, and so they try and incorporate the memes and understand the memes. Because Derpy wouldn't be half the places she is without the fandom making her a thing. If they were just left to their own devices, the delivery would have been really boring and normal. But because Derpy's so popular, we got the weird flying in through the window, crashing Derpy delivery. So, it's it's those sorts of things that just kind of add a little extra flavor to it. But anyway, luckily for the Starlight, the fake six are summoning some sort of communication array from the map. So it's quite easy to convince Trixie that, no, I'm not crazy. They are changelings. So that was a good way of kind of speeding through that process of, are you sure? Are you sure they're not just, a little weird today or something? Or it's not your perception because you're all kind of wound up because of the festival thing? Nope, they're actually summoning a communication array, and there's Queen Chrysalis, and they're all turning back into bugs. Yep, that's true. That's definitely true. And we find out that Starlight apparently, in all these studies, learned a cloaking spell. which they're
Which is very useful, and she taught it to Trixie.
no, I think she was just extending the cloak over her.
I thought I saw I thought I
I'd
saw
have to go.
Trixie's horn glow too with it.
I'd have to go look, but my guess is that she extended it because that's Trixie's talent is show magic. She's performance. So
Stage magic, I
yeah,
know.
yeah. So I guess a cloaking spell would be something she would that would be very showy and things that, but we've never seen it from her before, but we know that Starlight's been studying more obscure magic spells, so it wouldn't be surprising if she learned the cloaking spell and just extended it over. So they make it outside after waiting for the fake six stop going on alert, and Thorax of the Sparkly Wings arrives with news of no help from the Crystal Empire, which freaks Trixie out a bit. But to be fair, every changeling they've ever met has tried to be, evil. And they're currently engaged in evil, so not a surprising thing. I wouldn't. This is they actually have done evil. They're actually actively doing evil. So yeah, not gonna blame her.
When I first when the whole when they did that table scene, my first thought was that was honestly of Thorax being a double agent.
Yeah, that's another way they could have gone. Like my theory in the beginning. I mean, the writers aren't going to be that complex or underhanded with it, but
I don't know. They've done some pretty underhanded stuff.
Yeah, that was. If you go back and watch that episode's review, I was being all Romulan and say, yeah, if I was trying to infiltrate the Crystal Empire, this is how I would do it.
Exactly. I mean,
I'd send
it would have been the perfect plan to just sneak, gain their trust and take them from there.
Yeah, and then basically, have somebody open the castle doors for them. Betray them at the last moment to make the plan work. But they could have done that, but I don't know if they had time to really do that with as much else as they wanted to do. But it was also important that he was actually reformed for these episodes to work.
Yeah.
And now we know why that kind of came out of left field like it did. It's like, this is what they were setting up. See. So, Starlight's fear of leadership crops up again as Trixie and Thorax seek her leadership to, what should we do? And then we get your favorite part, probably. Discord appears. Quite a collection of secondary characters.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Yes.
He was knitting Fluttershy a little present.
Which, given that he's the Lord of Chaos, he could have just snapped into it. But I guess if he knits it himself manually, it has more meaning.
Yes. Fluttershy likes that type of sentiment.
And he's mostly kind of, nonplussed about a lot of things until he finds out they took What, go ahead.
Either that or it really was Angel Bunny and he was just being a total tool.
Oh wow, yeah, that's dark. But yeah, Discord is mostly at this point nonplussed about the whole situation until we hear that Fluttershy has been taken, and we get deathly serious Discord. Something you do not want to see. I'm surprised he didn't storm into the castle and absolutely rip apart all the changelings that were inside. Or bounce them all,
Well,
or blink
y-
them all out in front of him and destroy them one by one. Just, you took
magic doesn't
Fluttershy?
work in there.
No, I mean, in, like, no, out, the fake six that are posing.
Oh,
The magic should work there.
yeah, but
If he
well,
was feeling particularly
that could
vengeful,
work
he could have
for them.
gone, all right, nope, you're out here. Yeah, you guys, yeah, you six, yeah, I'm going to slowly drive you insane. I'm going to
Yeah,
torture
but you see, the problem with that,
you.
the problem with that though, is that if he let on to them that he knew, they could have done something to Fluttershy, the real Fluttershy.
Yes, but
They could have sent
if he
word back to the
contains them and
castle.
he's got them in a jar somewhere, and he's just taunting them and tormenting them where they don't have a chance to communicate because they needed that big array to communicate with Chrysalis. So if he's got them trapped in some prison of his own chaotic design,
Dear sweet Fluttershy was taken. Do you really think he's thinking clearly? His first instinct is to run and rescue her,
yeah. But I was saying if he was feeling
or
particularly
fly
vengeful,
in
he
on
could
a
have done that.
flying pig, or ride in on a flying pig and rescue her. But
Yeah. But at any rate, he tries to snap them to her, but he only gets nearby. And so four set out from Ponyville, the Fellowship of the Reformed. And that's the end of part one. Which is a nice setup to the next part. Part two has a lot of speeches by Starlight, and it also has a lot of good dialogue and lore building, considering all this lore is about to be thrown in the toilet. It's all about to be thrown in the trash because everything's about to change. With the changelings, or the changedlings, as I think people have come to call them. Which, my goodness, I'll get to them. Let me get to them. So, magic doesn't work aside from the changeling magic in the changeling kingdom. Discord tests this with flying pigs. It's a nice little device because it keeps Discord from instantly solving the problem 5 seconds after he finds out about it. You know,
it's like breaking the sonic screwdriver back in the Fifth Doctor era,
yeah, essentially
or the deadlock seal now.
Yeah, or made of wood. It doesn't work on wood.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a way of keeping this basically omnipowerful, being from just bloop bloop, problem solved, got everybody back. We didn't have to work that hard. You should just call me first. I would have had this done 5 minutes ago. Anyway, it also explains why no one raids the Changeling Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, though, I suppose it wouldn't work, but would potions work in that environment? I assume they would absorb the magic as soon as the potion released the magic. But sometimes there's situations where it's like, yes, potions will work, but magic won't. Like, cast magic won't,
Well,
but
it
potions work.
depends on the type of potion,
Yeah.
because certain potions work on a more biochemical reaction rather than a
Cast.
psychokinetic energy.
Yeah, a cast
Yeah.
spell.
So cast spells are basically altering physical reality using psychokinetic energy, whereas potions are biochemical reactions for the most part, and therefore they don't release the same type of energy to be absorbed by the crystal.
Well, okay, at this point, Starlight takes charge at this point, whether she realizes it or not, and just kind of, okay, guys, we need to get going and do this. You know,
Mostly because
nobody else
Trixie
will.
and Discord were bickering like.
Yeah, which she deals with them
I love
again
the
later.
bickering.
Yeah, you know, and you know, Thorax is he's just trying to get people to listen to. But
There is no Oh, I could just fly us. There's no magic. Why didn't you say so? I was trying to tell you.
Yeah. So, turns out the Fellowship of the Reformed will simply walk into Mordor, Changeling Kingdom. Which leads to Discord belly aching. Which also brings up another thought. With as long a journey and as flat a landscape as it seemed to be, you'd think Chrysalis would have a few sentries out and about to warn of invaders, especially when you just took the most powerful ponies in Equestria hostage, and you don't think there's a possibility somebody might notice and somebody might come after them. So you're not going to have any sentries out on the plains. Just kind of, you don't have to keep very many of them out there. You can just keep them to where they can kind of see each other, and on a flat plain, just at the extent of where they can see each other, and then they could just sit there, and if somebody comes, they light a signal fire or something and say, oh yeah, there's people coming, let's hive attack, and then
yeah,
you attack
but she's
them.
cocky.
She's cocky, and that's part of why she fails. But I guess I know too much of the too much of the
battle strategy.
Yeah, I'm thinking too much about how I would do it. I would be a horrible villain. I'd be too successful. I think. Forgive my arrogance, but
that was my problem in a couple of fics I've written. The villain actually won because I couldn't figure out how to stop myself.
Yeah, because if you can, the villain can win if they know how to properly do it. If they've read the what was it, the guide. I can't remember what it is. It's an old thing. It's an old thing on the internet, but the guide for
Anarchist Cookbook?
No, not the Anarchist Cookbook. No. It's like a list of do's and don'ts for supervillains or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but it's got like rules of don't do this, don't do that.
Never put a self-destruct button.
Well, and it's like if I have a plan, I will keep a 12-year-old or is it a 5-year-old or something on my staff at all times, and if and I'll pass all plans through them. If they can pick it apart, I will not go through that plan. Tips for the dictators or is it evil?
It's utter chaos. Chaos in this changeling cave. Oh, it's adequate chaos.
Yes, that was one of the. It's decent chaos. is what I think he said. Well, it's decent chaos. I don't know if I'd call it total. Um, but we get some nice Trixie and Discord bicker, which Trixie
Yeah.
reins them in. Um, uh, Trixie, oh great, we might as well just sit here and wait for the changelings to soak up all of our love, or whatever gross thing it is they do. How often do you all get hungry? This is a bit of lore too. Right, okay, they get that, and then this is the lore thing I was going to talk about next. Actually, I haven't been since I met Spike, and changelings are always hungry. We can never get enough love. Well, that's just super. But you aren't hungry at all now? Huh. Once I made a few friends, I guess I just sort of forgot about the whole feeding thing. Is that about the same time your wings changed? I guess so. So, you know, changelings get sparkly when they start sharing love. So, yeah, lots of changeling lore this thing. And then we get the Trixie and Thorax smoke bomb double team to kind of teleport around the place. Which is a cool way of doing it without using magic.
And it is very much a show pony trick.
Yeah, it's exactly the kind of tactic you'd expect from a performer like her.
There's always the not double cross, but the sleight of hand, or hoof in this case.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I can't remember what that. I'll have to. You know.
I did kind of squee when when they whipped out the microphone and from her bag.
But yeah.
What is she doing carrying around a random microphone?
She's setting up something for Discord to have when he needs to distract the guards.
Also, more proof that ponies have stolen Time Lord technology. Those bags were dimensionally transcendental.
Yeah. Oh yeah. One sec. Yeah, I think. Okay. Yes, it's top 100 things I'd do if I ever become an evil overlord. It's a list of 100 things that, just pointing out major flaws in evil overlord plans and strategies. And it's an older list, but it still checks out. It was driving me nuts. I had to look it up. I had to find it again. I'll go read that. I'm gonna go read that again. That's pretty good. Anyway, but Starlight noticed two changelings headed off in a different direction, which leads to, them heading down towards the throne room. Discord. Normally, I'm the most distracting thing I can think of, but without magic. And Starlight, you shouldn't underestimate yourself. So, a good leader knows how to make the most of her team. So, Discord distracts the guards as the rest slip past.
Knows their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah. And Discord is chaotic and crazy, and you have to be blind not to notice him. And even then, blind and deaf, because he is, he's loud and he's very colorful.
He is secretly Pun Pony's illegitimate father.
Yes, he's very, very
distracting. Those jokes.
Even without a single drop of magic, he's very distracting. But, so, he escapes.
Joke.
Discord escapes, but he runs into a bunch of Fluttershy imitators crying. That's simply torturous. That's evil. That's pure evil. You're going to torture
That
Discord with
really hurt.
crying Fluttershy. You monsters.
With multiple crying Fluttershies.
Yes, there were way too many crying Fluttershies. It's just so evil. But in its place, a fake Discord appears, but they counter the strategy thanks to Klutzy Draconicus.
It really should have changed that title.
Oh, you don't like that secret
We need a
code,
new
do you? But anyway, so fake
Works for
Discord.
me.
They counter the strategy with the Klutzy Draconicus. Trixie takes the tunnel instead and holds them back until they can get away and down the tunnel to the throne room. Which it seems to me, if you're a changeling hive and you know where they are, you outnumber them probably, 200 to 1. Just send everybody at them. Seems like a simple solution to me. You don't need to ambush them. You're already inside the ambush. You've got them surrounded on all sides. Just bring everybody up and pincer them. You've got them
It's
already.
the bug mentality.
Yeah. I suppose the ambush is, it's their mentality, but so is swarming. Swarming's mentality. Just swarm and attack. That's what bees do. Swarm, attack, 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 until the invader is no longer a threat to the hive. But yeah, a simple, swarm would have, if they had gone after them all instead of just going after Trixie, they would have had them all captured quite quickly. But anyway, Trixie says, Starlight, you got us this far with just my illusions and Discord's annoying personality. You don't need magic to figure out what to do next. I know you're afraid to be in charge, but you are really good at it. Listen to your best friend. Which is really, really good encouragement, and that does sound like something, very much Trixie would say.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to the great and powerful Trixie.
I know what I'm talking about because I'm the great and powerful Trixie. So you go get him.
Mm-hmm. So
I'll be the distraction since we don't have the dumbass Draconicus anymore.
Hey.
And yet another episode where I'll be talking to myself most of the time.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It'll be me and Morgan Freeman.
Yes, Morgan Freeman will talk as Starlight Glimmer. Anyway,
There'll be 2 episodes this season where I'm spending most of it talking to myself.
let's
4,
see.
technically.
But at any rate, just 2 remain who set out from Ponyville. Starlight discovers the throne and the captured are dangling above, but it turns out it's Thorax disguised. Twisty Chrissy monologues as she moves around her throne with Starlight inside. And then we get a nice little speech from Starlight. I know what it's like to lead by fear and intimidation, and I know what it's like to want every pony to do what you say, but I was wrong. A real leader doesn't force her subjects to deny who they are. She celebrates what makes them unique and listens when one of them finds a better way. But she's learned leadership lessons and kindness and all the good stuff. So, at this point, Chrissy tries to take the love from Thorax, but instead of holding back from her, she shares it with her, which knocks her back and crumbles the throne, the rest joining in after his transformation, which changes him into a very colorful bad OC. We couldn't...
Seriously.
I mean, the shape is not horrible, but the color scheme is awful. Couldn't you, have them changed into something?
He kind of looks like a beetle.
Yeah. I mean, you could have changed him into, instead of making him super colorful, kind of that ugly, looks like a 5-year-old tried to color him sort of thing, and just didn't care about, what color he was coloring them. You know, you could have made him like diametrically opposed, like instead of black, he becomes, white, and his wings become red or something like that. Something like that. Something where you see the color flip, you know. Instead of the color just, go weird.
Yeah, but I think if you did negative image of them, it would look just as weird.
I suppose, but yeah, at least it would make sense and it would be consistent, and but the weird tie-dye version is just kind of weird. And it doesn't look very good either, so and maybe if he was all one color, like they picked one color like they do ponies, and just like, okay, you're one color, here it is. It would have looked better. It's like, oh, you're now, you know, you're now green, or you're now red, or you're now blue, But it's like, you're all these colors. But at this point, the might of Equestria is freed and mad. You have basically Chrissy's alone, and she's facing down basically every powerful pony Equestria has to offer. The sisters, 4 alicorns, the elements of harmony, essentially. Shining Armor, the captain of the guard, but, not especially impressive given his
Mary
track
Sue
record.
McFlurry.
Yeah. Though,
Mary Sue McFlurry.
I don't think she has the ability to be mad.
All of the changes.
Yeah, well, depending on how the changelings
if you upset her, she can cry to. If you upset her, her cry could have shattered that throne herself.
But yeah, I suppose. But then again, they did do that managed magic spell that was supposed to stop the huge magical surges and kind of even her out. Because she sneezed at the end of the crystalling, and she was not blowing stuff up. But we get a nice moment from Glimmer, kind of a pinnacle of her reformation this season. When Twilight and her friends defeated me, I chose to run away and seek revenge. You don't have to. You can be the leader your subjects deserve. Winds rustling. And she's like holding out the hoof to her. It's like, are we going to reform basically every villain the series has ever had outside of Tyrek? And nope. Smack. Chrissy, don't play that game. There is no revenge you could ever conceive of that will come close to what I will exact upon you one day, Starlight Glimmer. Yeah. So it is nice to see. Go ahead.
My question is, she's a queen, they're insectoid.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly they do male and female of that. So if it's like most insects, and she was the queen, wouldn't they have the males specifically set for procreation and making more of them? So all she would have to do is kidnap one of them, and make her own new army.
Yeah, that's the thing to wonder about, is whether you're going to end up with a changelings versus a changeling army. That sort of thing. Whether she's going to try and rebuild the hive somewhere else. But it's going to be harder for her to defend, considering she's lost the protection of the throne. The throne isn't anymore, so now magic works around her. So the invasion of the hive would be much easier on the second go if she decided to strike. A second strike, a retaliatory strike against the hive, if they found it, would be quite vicious because they couldn't, they could use magic and the changelings wouldn't have much of a chance, especially if they caught her quick enough where she didn't really have a lot of mature changelings ready. But
Also, even if she was able to build a new throne somehow, would the good changelings be able to attack them because it is still technically changeling magic?
yeah, I think that's fair to say. I think that if they were trying to mount an attack, I mean, right now they're not focused on, you know, the they're focused on rebuilding their own, their world and rebuilding their political system around something other than Queen Chrysalis telling them what to do. So, right, for a while, they're probably just going to be very introspective and rebuild their kind of community into something they can live with. But yeah, I think if they decided to launch a strike against Chrysalis, yeah, even if she did manage to find another stone to make the throne out of, that would work. It still wouldn't work against them. They could take it out.
Yep. So she's kind of SOL.
Yeah, she'll disappear for a while. She might be back at some point as a singular villain instead of head of an army. She might try and
Unless,
get her own hooves
like
dirty.
that one fanfic we were reading. Unless, like that one fanfic we were reading in the adult side, she created an army of bad guys.
Yeah,
Not
she
her
gathered
own.
up.
But she gathered up the worst of the worst to create an evil league of evil within within her own empire.
Yeah. But at any rate, she'll probably show up again. I doubt it'll be too soon. If they bring her back, it'll be towards the end of next season. If they bring her back, they
Or
don't want to
a season or two later.
Yeah.
If they do it.
At the earliest, I would imagine late next season. If they do that at all next season, that's about as early as I would expect it because they really dealt her a huge blow. She doesn't have her army. She's alone.
Seriously.
She doesn't have her throne to protect her.
I mean, it took her years to rebuild last time. Or seasons, anyway.
Yeah, it took her several seasons to work out how she was going to do it this time. And now she doesn't have her army to help her. So she's got to do it on her own or with a very, very few changelings that she had out and about at the time of the thoraxing.
Maybe
like the ones that were the fake six. They might come with her. Like she might have had some out and about, and it's like she calls them out to goes around and collects them and says, "Okay, we're meeting over here. We're going into the mountains, and we're gonna go hide out there." So if you see another changeling around, tell them to go meet me in there. We're going to reform a hive up in the mountains or something, where we can hide out and rebuild so we can
maybe go for grabbing T-Rex or something, track him down or track down some other villains.
Yeah. But that's pure speculation. We have no idea what she's going to be doing, but we know she's going to be probably out of action for a while.
Yeah.
So they all transport to the festival. They all transport to the festival. Trixie and Discord make amends, and Starlight realizes that she can trust herself again. And that's pretty much the episode.
So, do you want? How about you add a little chaos to your act?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. When pigs fly.
And
Okay.
then there's Big Fly. Oh, I just saw the image you sent. It wouldn't have to be a perfect negative image of the changeling. Normal colors, but it could have been something. It could be, it could be a silvery kind of shiny metal look. Like they could be silver instead of, like a kind of a shiny jewelry looking silver with, you know, some different eyes or something. But that's going off on a tangent. But yeah, it's overall it was an interesting episode of writing. It was a good growth episode for Starlight. She kind of finally started to trust herself again, and then you know, the main thing is whether you think the changeling event Thorax kicks off was a good thing or a bad thing. Whether it was a little Deus Ex Machina, or why had nobody ever tried to do this before as a changeling. But then again, this wasn't behavior that was encouraged by Chrysalis. This was behavior that was discouraged. It was steal all the love. They never talked about sharing it. And so I'm not a big fan of Thorax's design. Some of the other ones, though, were more solid colors, and they looked a little less ridiculous. Uh, but yeah, I guess it does make sense that they would be different colors, because if they were different colors, that would make them more like the ponies, more individuals, and that's probably one of the things they wanted to go from. Is this is no longer a collective. This is a bunch of individuals.
Mm-hmm.
So not everybody's uniform. Everybody's different. And so they're more like the ponies, more individualistic. At any rate, I don't really have much else. It was just it was a good finale. It was a good finale.
It was.
Good references, good appearances by a lot of secondary characters and characters that are, we don't see to see very often. Some fan favorites. And
Yep.
now Princess
And
Twilight is
great
officially
interaction between them.
yeah, and Princess Twilight is officially, she's officially kind of gotten to the princess level because her student has now saved her.
Yep.
Yes. Just imagine her talking to Celestia afterwards. Can't believe I had to be saved by my student. You get used to it. Now eat the cake and drink the tea. Smile and wave and look important. Is that all there is? For the most part.
Yep.
Eat the cake, drink the tea, smile and wave. But at any rate, anything else you want to talk about before we finish? Before we wrap this thing up?
No. Although I would like to see more interaction between them in the future, Trixie and Discord.
It might be an interesting
They had quite a they had quite a fun sibling rivalry type attitude to each other. Kind of that Rainbow Dash and Applejack style rivalry,
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if they like it was an episode where Trixie brings Discord into her show for something, they they go on tour or something and they have problems, keeping they get invited to do a show for Celestia invites them to do a show. And for the show, Trixie
Peanut butter
invites Discord.
crackers?
Yeah. Trixie invites Discord and Starlight to come with her. Because she wants to make a big show of it. And Starlight has to help balance the attitudes of the egos of Discord and Trixie, which are very, very heavy. Lord of Chaos and the great and powerful.
No wonder Discord slouches so much. It's so hard to carry that ego of his.
Well, in some ways it is deserved in that he is incredibly powerful. So there is that. But at any rate, I don't really have
All the
anything.
most powerful ponies on the planet. All the most powerful ponies in Equestria are been pony napped. Everybody forgets about me. I'm more powerful than all of them. It took all of them combined to stop me. And yet, I'm always forgotten. Always just on the sidelines playing ogres and oubliettes with the sidekicks.
But at any rate, I think that's everything. I think we gotta close it up here. If there's nothing else, thanks for watching.
Yep. I mean, we can't really do much of other things because there are only the two of us.
Alright, well, stopping the stream in 3, 2, 1.